Since the initial outbreak of COVID-19 back in March of 2020, scientists have been discovering a number of new variants. As of late, Omicron seems to be the main variant that has pushed countries like Canada back into lockdowns. Previously, there was the Delta variant, and now there is another new variant that was just discovered in southeastern France called IHU. The first case was linked to a person that had traveled to Western Africa, and in a paper published online, they reported that the person identified with the IHU variant was fully vaccinated at the time. However, despite being fully vaxxed, they tested positive for COVID-19 following their 3-day trip. According to reports, at least 12 people have been infected with the new strain, and researchers have already found at least 46 mutations of the virus. Not to mention, the World Health Organization has yet to label the variant or verify its existence in any other country. The authors of the article published about the new finding explained that subsequent detection of 3 mutations in the spike gene to screen for variants did not correspond to the pattern of the Delta variant involved in almost all SARS-CoV-2 infections at the time. Epidemiologist Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding would later say that the new variant is being monitored and stressed that this discovery of new strains doesn't always mean that they will be more dangerous. In a series of tweets, he writes, "There are scores of new variants discovered all the time, but it does not necessarily mean they will be more dangerous. What makes a variant more well-known and dangerous is its ability to multiply because of the number of mutations it has in relation to the original virus." Adding, "This is when it becomes a variant of concern, like Omicron, which is more contagious and more past immunity evasive. It remains to be seen in which category this new variant will fall." In their research paper, the scientists also explained that from their observations of the new strain, they've seen once again just how unpredictable the emergence of new variants can be. Not to mention their introduction from abroad and the difficulty to control these new introductions and subsequent spread. However, not everyone is concerned about this IHU variant. Dr. Tom Peacock, who is a virologist at the Department of Infectious Disease at Imperial College London, said that the variant has actually been around for some time now. He added in a tweet, "Lots of chat about B1640.2 in the last few days. Just a few points to keep in mind. B1640.2 actually predates Omicron. In all that time, there are exactly 20 sequences. Definitely not one worth worrying about too much at the moment." And despite saying that it's been around though, and that it's not much of a concern, this still will impact how governments make decisions. Professor Jaya Dantas also said to the press that this new strain is not of any concern at the moment, but that it should be monitored, adding, "It's not something to worry about at this stage because there were positive samples of this variant before the Omicron variant began ripping through the world, so it actually predates Omicron. It is a sublineage of B1640, which has caused some concern, but it couldn't compete with Delta." And the professor also went on to say that because COVID is an airborne virus, there is always the risk that we could see the IHU variant in places like Australia. However, she did say, "It's still early days to actually make any assumptions about this. It might be worth watching what happens in France over the next week or so." And speaking of, French authorities have announced that children aged 6 and older would have to start wearing masks in indoor venues as new cases of the Omicron variant blew past 200,000 for the 4th day in a row. I'd love to hear your thoughts on all this though, because that's all the time that we have for today. So stay classy, and I'll see you in the next one.